What are trigonometric functions? I mean, we've already spent quite a fair bit of time discussing sine and cosine specifically, but what about all the other ones? The tangents, the cotangents, the seconds, the arccosines, the works, what about all of them? Well, that's what we'll cover in this video, along with a pretty neat twist at the end about the meanings of such functions, but first, let's start with just sine. Again, what would be sine equivalent to? If you imagine a point traveling across a circle, sine would just be equivalent to the height of that point, like so. Then what about the cosine? Well, a cosine would be the width at which it's at, and right away we can create first two general rules of thumb. The sine describes the position of our point, and addition of co to the trigonometric function reflects its axis. So as sine talks about the height, cosine talks about the width. Another example of a trigonometric function would be the tangent, and in order to get there, we need to start with the tangent. I hope the naming convention isn't confusing to you. This right here is the tangent line, not to be confused with tangent, the function. And as you can see, this line is always tangent to the curve, the circle. That name is quite apt. Now tangent, this time the function, is what happens when we take this tangent line and extend it until it touches the x-axis, like so. There we go, the length of this line is the value of the tangent. Now let's add to it our rules and let's consider the ramifications. First of all, as the tangent gets closer to the top, its length gets longer and longer until it becomes parallel to the x-axis, at which point it's infinite? Even better, the way we interpret the tangent, once it goes further, it catches back to the x-axis, but on the other side, which we consider to be negative tangent. So wait, tangent goes up to positive infinity, and then just switches back to negative infinity instantly? How does that make sense? Well, if you look at the graph of a tangent in Desmos, for example, it starts off at 0, then it goes to infinity, and then it comes back from negative infinity. And the cycle repeats. It does actually work. Then by combining the rule of the tangent with the rule of co, we get a cotangent, which is just like the tangent, but pointing the other way. Simple. What next? Well, next we could have the secant. And what is the secant? Imagine that we take our tangent and we connect the final point of our tangent back to the 0 point. There we go. Congratulations, this is a secant. Using the co rule, we can also get a cosecant, and I think you get the deal by now. Those are the main 6, but there can be more. For example, versine, which is just 1 minus cosine, and the corresponding coversine. There is also the x-secant, which is just secant minus 1 of the corresponding x-cosecant, but since all of these can be constructed based on the prior ones, it's not really needed for us to talk about it. So instead, let's focus on two fun tidbits. That's because, I'll be honest with you, normally I wouldn't really make a video about a topic like this, because even though this is a nice visualization, I didn't come up with it. It's from Wikipedia. But what I did come up with is as follows. Even though all of these functions here are actual trigonometric functions, keep in mind, we actually define them in relation to the properties of the curve, not specifically the circle. And what I mean by that is, we can change our circle into any arbitrary shape. So here's what the trigonometric functions would look like if we've dealt with a squircle instead of a circle. And here's what they would look like if it was a diamond. And here we can have a random arbitrary curve. And even better, if I zoom out, I can simulate the values for it and create a graph. And even better, since the geometry nodes are set up already, I can, in fact, do this.